He once cut through Europe like a sword. Henry VIII, defender of the faith, a king of thunderous will and ruthless command. 6 wives, 2 beheaded, monasteries crushed, thrones challenged. Yet by the time death came, it didn't kneel at his feet. It crawled under his skin. His flesh oozed. His legs split open and wept pus. His stomach bloated so monstrously that some claimed it ruptured after death. The room where he lay reeked so badly, no servant could stay too long. This wasn't the death of a king. This was the slow decomposition of a man still clinging to the pretense of power. This is the final chapter of Henry VIII, not written in treaties or bloodlines, but in rotting flesh and groaning agony. Henry VIII was born into a dynasty built on blood. The Tudors, survivors of the Wars of the Roses. He wasn't supposed to rule. That role was meant for his older brother, Arthur, who died suddenly in 1502. At just 17, Henry ascended the throne in 1509. He was a prince of the Renaissance, athletic, handsome, and multilingual. A poet, a theologian, and a sportsman, he was also a man deeply insecure about legacy. He wanted a male heir at any cost. His reign shattered England's religious foundations. He broke from Rome when Pope Clement VII refused to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. This triggered the English Reformation, birthing the Church of England. He married 6 times, executed 2 wives, and changed England's legal, religious, and political institutions forever. But with each year, each betrayal, and each failed heir, the burden on his body and mind grew heavier. What began as golden majesty slowly blackened into tyranny. By the 1540s, the radiant king had become a lumbering shadow of his former self. Paranoid, obese, and ulcer-ridden, Henry governed from behind chamber doors. His decline wasn't sudden. It was slow, grotesque, and agonizing, a decaying body that outlasted its own strength. Henry's decline began not with illness, but with injury. In 1536, during a joust at Greenwich Palace, he was thrown from his armored horse. The animal, weighing over 1,000 pounds, crashed down on him. He lost consciousness for 2 hours. He never jousted again. From then on, his body turned against him. He developed a severe wound on his left leg. Some say it was an old injury reopened. Regardless, it never healed. It ulcerated, oozing pus and emitting a stench that overwhelmed even the richly scented halls of the Tudor court. The wound resisted every treatment. It festered, darkened, and deepened. Soon both legs began to swell. The king could no longer walk without help. Custom harnesses and hoists had to be created to lift his massive frame onto horseback or into bed. The pain was constant, excruciating. Movement became limited. He grew dangerously obese, reportedly nearing 400 pounds. His girth alone was a health hazard. His breathing was labored, his skin blotched, his gums infected. By his early 50s, the king who once danced and hunted was now confined to his chambers, nursing foul ulcers and a tortured body. Worse still, his emotional state mirrored his physical collapse. His anger became volcanic. He shouted, wept, turned paranoid. He dissolved into tantrums when his leg dressings were changed. At times he refused medical care, convinced no one could be trusted. His meals, once vibrant banquets, became grotesque. Rituals, meats, sweets, wines, all consumed excessively. Digestion faltered, gout set in. Fevers came and went. Yet despite the pain, despite the stench, he clung to ceremony and power. When he could no longer lead in person, he ruled from bed. A kingdom waited on a dying man, whose body was now a battlefield of ulcers, inflammation, and untreated infection. Centuries later, medical historians have attempted to diagnose what ravaged Henry VIII. Their conclusions are as grim as the symptoms. Diabetes is a leading theory. His weight, the non-healing ulcers, polyuria, excessive thirst, and infections all point toward type 2 diabetes, a disease poorly understood in Tudor times. If so, his ulcers may have stemmed from diabetic neuropathy and poor circulation. Chronic venous insufficiency also fits. His legs were grossly swollen, and ulcers can result from pooling blood that the body cannot recirculate. Such wounds become breeding grounds for infection. Another possibility is Cushing's syndrome, a hormonal disorder that causes weight gain, mood swings, and hypertension. It would explain his bloated face, emotional instability, and physical collapse. Syphilis has long been rumored, but most experts doubt it. The traditional syphilitic symptoms, mental breakdown, facial lesions, etc., don't match. Some speculate traumatic brain injury from his 1536 fall may have impacted not only motor control, but temperament. His explosive rages, depressive spirals, and impulsive decision-making worsened after the accident. What is clear, his immune system failed him. His body became a cesspool of inflammation. Skin abscesses, gangrenous sores, infected joints. No antibiotics, no insulin. Just superstition, leeches, and pain. Treatments were barbaric. Boiled wine on wounds, foul-smelling plasters. Poultices, made from honey, herbs, pigeon dung. Bleeding, cauterization, all ineffective. In the end, he was dying not from one thing, but from many. A confluence of unchecked conditions, all accelerated by diet, stress, and denial. He ruled like a god. He died like a sick old man crushed beneath the weight of his own myth.